What's going on this morning, YouTube? It's a couple things I wanted to throw at you guys with all this information going on in there around about about the Bible and about these Hebrew Israelites and people using the Bible still. Now, let me say this before I say anything. Preface my comments by saying I don't care what you use as long as you're for the freedom of our people, and that's true freedom, which means we judge, police, and govern ourselves under our own laws and rules that we seem and deem fit. But there's a lot of discussion going on about it, and one of the things that most people don't know about me is that I am a real big Bible studier, or I was. Um, from Of course, like everyone else, I grew up in the church. I grew up indoctrinated like everyone else. If you ask yourself the question, how did I get here? You'll clearly see how that Bible was handed to you, and it was not something that you went on a spiritual journey and came into. And if that's not the case, what are you really doing? Like, you can't be handed spirituality from your parents or your grandparents. That has to be a personal journey that you, even if you agree with them, that you go through and why you agree with them, and you found it for yourself. But today, I'm going to read a couple verses as to why I don't that I question people who like the Bible and read the Bible and don't want to and only accept the narrative that was given about the Bible. Put it that way. First, we're going to start real quick, guys, in Exodus, and it starts at chapter 20. Excuse me, chapter 33, verse 20 to 23. And I'll read it real quick so we'll get over it. And I won't, unlike Sarnetta, the other person who claims to be about black people and liberation and intelligence, spirituality, I can actually read. So here we go. Exodus, chapter 33, verses 20 to 23. And he said, Thou canst not see my face, for there shall be no man to see my face and live. And the Lord said, Behold, there is a place by me, and thou shalt stand upon a rock. And it shall come to pass, while my glory passeth by, that I will put thee in a cleft of the rock, and will cover thee with my hands while I pass by. Okay? This is the most important part of why I'm reading this to you. Okay? And then the second part will come in, and you'll be the judge yourself. I'll leave it at that. We'll do a live stream on it tonight. I plan on doing a live stream on Polite. Where the fuck are you, nigga? Like, we haven't heard anything from you. But that's definitely coming. Last verse, verse 23. And I will take away my hand, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen. Now, excuse me. Now, let's put this in a perspective. I'm an artist, and so what helps me with comprehension when I read, which I have an extremely high comprehension level, not just bloviating about it like I do. I understand what I read and comprehend what I read. Now, it says here clearly, I will take away my hand, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen. So what we're describing here is something, someone, whatever, or some entity is having a conversation with a man. Okay? This entity is basically at this point, I figure, unseen to this man, but this man can hear the entity's voice. So, no description in here on the thunder voice of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was a deep voice or whether the nigga sounded like Ralph Tresvant or something. But anyway, there's a man having some sort of conversation with this entity called the Lord and or God. Now, the Lord and or God tells this entity, this man, that I'm going to allow you to see me, but I am not going to allow you to see my face. Clear, okay? That's clear. So what that means is you have an individual standing here. This other individual or entity called the Lord presents itself, okay? This man must either close his eyes or have his eyes blocked. And so here goes this entity called the Lord walking past him. Now it's okay for him to look. All right? Once the entity is past, he can look. And he's looking, so this is Moses, and Moses is looking at the Most High, the Lord God, the Lord, and or God, whatever term you want to use, Jehovah, walking away. Now, what does Moses go do? That's not, that he did, but that's talked about in the Bible, but that's not talked about in the Bible. What did Moses do upon seeing the Lord? It's not mentioned in the Bible that Moses saw the Lord and then went and made a serpent, for the people to go worship. But it's mighty, mighty coincidental that he sees the Lord, the only one who sees the Lord, and then later on, this same individual makes a serpent and has the children of Israel worshiping this serpent, statue and figure. Could it be that all the stories that we heard, the other stories, because this is what comes in the problem with reading. You have to, it's all arbitrary. You have to, when you read, you have to, in certain people's mind, you have to read the right author. Then that's arbitrary in and of itself, because who knows who the hell the right author is? No one knows these people. No one's vetting these people. So I've read before that the Lord God or Jehovah was used to be depicted as a serpent, as some sort of humanoid type looking walking serpent, creature, but it was more of a serpent than anything. Now, with that being stories and or historical stories, even if they're just made up or whatever, that are tied into this, makes one wonder when the Lord God covered his face and Moses was only able to see the back of him, Moses still knows exactly what he looks like. I'm going to give you a perfect example. If I close my eyes like this and then a pit bull walks past and I look at the back, I can clearly tell that that's a dog that walked past me. If I cover my eyes and there's something walked past and I look up and uncover my eyes, I can clearly tell me that that's the back of a bear. I can cover my eyes and you can walk past and I can clearly tell that's the back of a woman that just walked past me. So maybe Moses made a serpent for the children of Israel to worship because that's what the fuck walked past him. Maybe when he uncovered his eyes, biblical story only. When he, because I'm not saying anything's actually true. But what I'm saying is maybe when he uncovered his eyes, that's what he saw. Some walking serpent, some serpent looking entity that he referred to as the Lord God or God and had been speaking to that entity the whole time. And then when he finally got to see it, even though he only seen the back, that's what he saw. You would not be confused if you saw the back of a man and the back of a wildebeest. Would you be confused of which one's a man and which one's a wildebeest? If you seen the back of a zebra and the back of a mule, and those are close animals related, would you be confused on which one you saw? No, you would not. You'd be clear that you've seen the back of something. And it's apparent that those stories that Jehovah and all these things were serpent-like entities must have some sort of credence to it, because Moses turned around and made a statue for the children of Israel to worship. And I'll take you there right now. It's in 2 Kings chapter 18 and verse 4. And it says here clearly, and this is speaking of he's not prince anymore, he's King Hezekiah. Chapter 18. Here we go. I'm going to start at verse 2. No, I'll start at the top. Now it came to pass in the 3rd year of Hoshea, son of Elah, king of Israel, that Hezekiah, the son of Ahaz, king of Judah, began to reign. 25 years was he when he began to reign. And he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Abi, the daughter of Zechariah. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that David his father did. Now, here's the most important part. He removed the high places. He broke down the images and cut down the groves, and breaking to pieces the brazen serpent that Moses had made. For unto those days the children of Israel did burn incense to it, and he called it Nehushtan. And if you look up Nehushtan, even just using Google motherfucker, I'm not pulling out all my little old books because half that shit I gotta really dig and find. But it'll clearly tell you um, that Nehushtan, the name given in contempt to what was alleged to be the serpent in the wilderness, which had become an object of worship among the Jews and was destroyed by King Hezekiah. So, King Hezekiah destroyed Nehushtan, or that serpent that the children of Israel or the Jews used to worship. Okay? So it's very clear that Moses got the idea from somewhere. Maybe it could have been from Egypt. Everyone says he was from Egypt, and when he was in Egypt, that's all those things. Okay, but they're still in the Bible itself. It's ambiguous. There's not enough evidence to clearly say that no, that's no way that he made that because Yahweh was a serpent. Or you don't have any facts to go against that. None whatsoever. It's very coincidental. Coincide means to go together. So people always use that shit out of context. Oh, it's just a coincidence. What do you mean it's just a coincidence? Coincidence? Things coincide and or go together generally because they are supposed to go together. Because they have similarities or they have connectors, which is why they're together. It's very coincident. It's a very strange coincidence that Moses seen Yahweh, the only one who's seen Yahweh, down here, and the next thing you know, he got all these niggas worshiping the image of a serpent. We'll do later live stream tonight, and that's not all. When I go into this, guys, I go into this. It's tons of other shit that I have to bring out. It's tons of shit about the story of Abraham and his wives, and the story of all these stories that if those stories are broken down and can't be deemed legitimate, then the whole rest of it has to be something other than what you're claiming it is. This narrative has to be something other than what you think it is. And before I go, you're going to hear this a lot tonight on the live stream. Ask yourself the question, how did I get here? How did I get to this spot of calling myself a Christian? If you got here other than some European brutally forcing that shit on you, you tell me. And when I mean you, I mean your grandparents and their parents, because they wouldn't have taught this shit to you if it wasn't brutally forced on them. So tonight we're going to have a live stream. I'm changing the topic. It was going to be about polite bitch ass, about where are you, because we're tired of looking for your bitch ass name. Where you at, G? You asked us to get Zachariah's mother. She came out and said the same thing motherfuckers been saying about you all this time, that you're a scam artist and you're a liar and no one could ever find you and you owe them money. So, where's your big ass mouth? But anyway, staying point. There's a lot of things in the Bible, man, that people just, you have to willfully ignore to continue on the narrative that you speak of. And I choose not to willfully ignore things.